Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the webinar. I am Dimple Bajwa from ET Edge, welcoming you all to this ET Live panel session. Today's session will look into the topic, building a dynamic and sustainable digital enterprise, managing hyper-connected ecosystems. And the session is powered by Tata Communications. Today, we live in a world where anybody, anywhere may communicate with anyone else with a mere click of a button. With the move to intelligent machines and the digital revolution, connecting everyone with everything is becoming challenging owing to a variety of factors such as aging legacy systems, restricted internet access, and so on. The cornerstone of digital business is the digital ecosystem. It is critical to digitize procedures that engage and connect consumers, workers, and partners. A hyper-connected ecosystem is one where people, organizations, and things connect and collaborate seamlessly. And these connected experiences drive value across ecosystems. Technology is a critical enabler of these experiences. In today's webinar, we'll discuss the challenges of connecting stakeholders as well as the key skills needed to provide consumers, workers, and partners with a secure, connected digital experience. The key areas that will be touched upon are need of enterprise IT, applications, cloud, collaboration, network, and security cannot be looked at in silos. Problems with connecting everything in an enterprise. Network as the backbone of IT. Collaboration tools enabling the whole value chain from supplier to partner. If you have any questions during the session, please post them in the Q&A window on the right. We will be taking them up towards the end of the session. Without further ado, let me now introduce the speakers for today's session. We have with us C.R. Srinivasan, EVP and Chief Digital Officer, Tata Communications; Jay Prakash Sharma, Executive VP, Technology Operations, Info Edge India; Surendra S., Managing Director, Infrastructure Services, Accenture; and the conversation will be steered by Biswajit Das, Director, KPMG. Welcome to this ET Live panel session. Over to you, Biswajit.
It's a pleasure to be here and to meet all of you. Right, this is going to be an interesting session because I keep saying this. The 6 degrees of separation between humans that we have has shrunk even further now. And businesses always mimic human behavior, and technology amplifies it. So it's all about making it faster, more convenient, better integrated, both for internal as well as our external consumers. And the rise of mobility and digital initiatives have only accentuated the need for bringing together what could have been isolated solutions and initiatives. Obviously, this is easier said than done. So we have to do with us panelists who are hyper-connected natives, so to speak, right? Where their business as usual itself is to deal with multiple geographies, diverse businesses and customers across varied technology platforms, right? And in 2021, if I do not touch on what the pandemic has impacted, I'll probably be banned from all future webinars, right? So obviously the pandemic has accelerated has been an accelerant for many of these initiatives, as the myth of the necessity of co-location for higher productivity has been shattered, hopefully once and for all, right? And of course, for many of us, this has also given us a chance to catch up on other interests we had in life. For example, Srini, I know you have been persistently trying to learn the flute for the last 8 years. Hopefully, you have got some time during the lockdown to put in quality Riyaz time.
Yes, yeah. I do that. When your schedule makes you stressful, you tend to do that for half an hour or so. And it's also a good breathing exercise. You try and relax.
And I think the good breathing exercise, in whichever way, is what we all need today, right? But you need to come back to this topic at hand. Right? Yours is an organization that is both a practitioner as well as an enabler for other organizations for hyperconnectedness. From our chats earlier, I do know that TCX has gone through some major transformations in this space.
Hey, Dimple, are you still on?
We would love to hear a first-person account of what you have done and the journey that you've gone through.
Sure. So, if you look at telecommunications, as you rightly said, we're both, a practitioner of, the digital, ecosystem that you're, talking about. We put that to use for our own purpose, and we facilitate that, build that for our customers. So one of the things that I'm mandated to sort of achieve for the company is a fully digitized, transformed set of processes for all of the work that we do with our customers, beginning from a customer lead being generated to the customer being eventually serviced, through the life cycle of the engagement. So this was an ambitious program that we started 3 years ago in the execution mode. 5 years ago, from a planning and a strategic, thinking mode. And in the last 3 years of execution, we've learned quite a bit, as a company. We've learned that it's absolutely critical for you to sort of have digital dexterity built into your, organization. You need to have systems and processes completely, thought all over again with, a blue sky approach. You need to have the right kind of technology and skills and the platforms that you need to sort of work with, which is basically the technology construct that will give you a high quality digital ecosystem. And of course, the ability to tell our customers that we are highly transparent, highly agile in our way of doing things, and being able to give them a return on the digital work that we've done in terms of shorter life cycle. For every step of enabling their service and supporting them during the life cycle. So it's a challenging task because we do have a number of products and services that we offer in the market, and each one of them is unique in its own way. And you need to sort of take it in chunks, and typically when we do this, thinking around how do we transform, how do we change the processes, how do we, actually build a process that puts customer at the center of everything that we do, and make sure that we give them a much superior experience, and not just superior experience, but absolute transparency in every step of the way, to realize the service. And that's what we've been doing. So in the process, we do have agile development teams. We do have agile way of working, so we use a scale agile framework, for developing all of these digital platforms. And the good thing is, we do it all by ourselves because we thought we are the digital experts, we are the telecom domain experts. So how can we not do this all ourselves? And it's been a fabulous journey. We've been able to bring 70% of our customer orders into digital platforms that we've created. We have high level of visibility in terms of digital data. And this gives us an opportunity to innovate. This gives us an opportunity to look at business differently and make a significant impact in the way we service our customers. So it's been an exciting journey in that sense. So that's where I'll stop.
So, Srini, I think it speaks for those numbers speak for themselves, right? 70% is a mind-boggling amount of digitization done. And I think I really like this philosophy of saying experience, transparency, customer in the middle, right? I think it's also a bold move to say I'm going to do this in-house, because a lot of organizations would sort of shy away from there. And obviously, all approaches work, right? Take an in-house approach, hybrid approach, etc., etc. But the proof of the pudding is in how successfully you've been able to do it. I think brilliant 3-year journey, and we'll come back because we want to hear a little more in terms of what that meant in terms of lessons for you that you'd want to pass on to everybody who's there on the webinar right now. Jay, I wanted to quickly bring you in, right? For a middle-class Indian like me, when you're growing up, there are 4 major milestones in one's life, right? You need to get a good education, Post that, you need to get a good job. Once you've done that, you need to get married. Then you need to buy a house. And info edge is very, very hyper connected to all these stages of our lives, right? Right through whether it's to Naukri, through the matrimonial, through your real estate assets, etc., etc. You're connected to all these major milestones in our life. Plus, you've always been a very digital first organization. And you yourself, I know that you're a great mix of both technology as well as business vision, right? So while you have been bringing all these efficiencies to all your business, especially now in the industrial 4.0 space, it's too hyper connected of smart homes, autonomous cars, etc. Right? And we will be very interested to hear your views on these and other initiatives that you have in flight.
I hope I am audible, this Ajit. Okay, perfect. Uh, so yeah, very correctly pointed out. So actually, you had touched upon from the almost from the age, we call it like adult age towards your further growth. I would say like info is touches every individual almost once they pass out from primary education. I would say like when primary education means like just the nursery piece. After nursery itself, we start touching from our education. Then we help you to find out like bigger colleges, right college, maybe within India, outside India, wherever you are. And then take you further to your first job. Specifically, once you're experienced, then you go for premier jobs. We connect right resources with the right organization, and then we give you. I mean, it's basically your choice. The way you said, whether you want to get married, whether you want to buy a house, whether you want to get insured, whether you want to buy something online, whether I mean your insurance, everything we take care about. So yeah, certainly on those lines, like there are certain pieces like which we touch it directly as an InfoEdge entity. Apart from these four specific business lines, we do have like many other areas like where we touch every individual. I mean, rightly pointed out, at this moment we are focused on we are on hyper connected world, and I mean everywhere we talk about like speed, agility. So as far as our journey started, like it has started somewhere around in '97, and from that time to till now, if we'll talk about like we are one of the premier organization, classified online classified organization, who are still able to maintain this, provide a value to the customer, and we are still doing good. I mean, we are still always look for state like where we could able to add value, and these digital ecosystem has actually pushed us to start connecting all the offline modes, bring it online so that like I mean, wherever possible, we can digitalize it, and that's where like this digital transformation started kicking in, where we say like, okay, connect your business processes, business models, domains, cultural or organizational connect, everything you can connect now, and that's where like our journey started, and today we are here.
Thank you so much, Jay. And we will want to probably at some point of time delve a little more into saying what were the important facets that you had to look at in terms of your technology, your platform, your skills, etc., to be able to bring about this
Sure.
hyperconnectedness across businesses, and we'll come back to that, right? Surendra, I wanted to quickly bring you in. First of all, my empathies. I know you are a very keen cricketer. You have been a keen cricketer and a follower, and yesterday's loss to New Zealand must hurt. I mean, it is hurting, so it must hurt there also. But having said that, cricket is something of a hyper connector when it comes to the Indian psyche, right? We all celebrate together, cry together, we
Yeah.
criticize and coach together from our living rooms, right? And So, in many ways, it's a simile of what we are going through in the business world, right? You, apart from being the CIO for Asia Pacific, you also double hat as the head of network operations for Accenture globally, right? Which is the very backbone for being hyper connected. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to sort of pick your brains on how you think cloud and having an internet first approach can help organizations go full throttle in their entire digital transformation.
Thanks, Biswajit. I know cricket is being watched in different ways now. Earlier, it was only television. When we were working with Hotstar, so came work with Star Group to develop the Hotstar app. So I was wondering whether we'll be successful in that. I was very happy to see around 800,000 people who are glued to that yesterday while watching cricket. I was watching it on Hotstar and I saw a lot of people watching it with me. So which also means that there are different modes. Whatever you enable digitally will be consumed. For us, cloud has played a big role in the success of business continuity of Accenture and our customers as well. It has made us very nimble and also flexible. We could respond at a speed which was not possible before. So we never thought we'll be able to enable so many people to work from home so quickly. We were completely on cloud. All 95% of Accenture's applications are on cloud, which makes it very easy for us to operate remotely. And organizations say that they don't want to go back to what they were before the crisis. So now if I have to come back to office, not many people don't want to come to office. And also as an organization, we don't want everybody to come back to office and go back to the same old mode. So the things have changed. We have seen the new possibilities. So we want to continue there. So the performance gap between digital leaders and laggards has grown since COVID. So the digital leaders have been able to adjust more easily. And some organizations which were held back because of their culture and also their hierarchy are now aggressively partnering to quickly move on to the cloud. So I would recommend using all the cloud options to migrate. So I can give an example of our Teams infrastructure. We were using Skype, and just before COVID, we had migrated to Teams. So in Skype, we just had capability of around 300 million minutes. That was the peak capacity of our Skype infra, which was on-prem. And post-COVID, our audio minutes per month is 1.3 billion. 1.3 billion minutes we are consuming on a monthly basis, which we couldn't have scaled up our infrastructure if it was on-prem. Since we were on O365 and Microsoft Teams, we were able to. So cloud is helping us in different ways, and we were able to do a lot of things because of our early movement to cloud. And I'm sure a lot of companies which have moved to cloud are experiencing that. And that's the journey we have to take all our customers towards and make them all successful.
Apologies, having a little trouble with the unmute button, I think. Surendra, I think that's also testimony. You and I both come from consulting organizations. These millions of minutes are also testimony to how we love to talk, right? But I agree with what you're saying. Cloud is not just infra, right? It's time to look beyond infra at what the cloud brings in terms of our ability to adapt as well as adopt uh, net new applications, net new technologies. The other good thing of the cloud is it's a two-door decision, right? You could experiment with something. If it doesn't work, you can quickly step back, and the blast radius of the time, effort, money that you're spending is fairly contained, right? That it gives you that flexibility to be able to do all of that in the cloud. Jeff, again, because Surendra brought up this entire remote working thing, right? Uh, is how do you think this will the major challenges that organizations which are either looking to build or to scale now and better their journey on this, especially how can they leverage open source ecosystems and all the hyperscalers to be better able to manage it? And what do you see as major challenges in that area?
So, I mean, Biswajit, again, we need to understand, like today's world, the biggest challenge is the frequently changing workloads. I mean, trust me, like at this moment, it is very, very difficult to analyze like from where you will get the data and what all technologies you are using in-house. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So, I mean, there are many systems. There are AI, ML, predictive modeling. There is a data lake, queuing system, continuous tailing of logs. So, I mean, data is pouring from everywhere, and this is specifically to adopt to these emerging needs of technology or the engineering art without much disturbance is something like which we are providing as a solution to our internal customers. Again, the way I said, like when the data is pouring into the enterprise from many sources and also gets stored in various different formats. Many organizations struggle to manage these workloads, applications securely, either from you call it like from an edge to an cloud storage. So now the performance of the applications also slowly and I mean people need it on the edge. The processing power needs to be much more higher at the edge rather than sitting on the back end. So by bringing the transformation with the use of technology itself, like we say like we are a big adopters of open source. We provide, I mean, we not only customize the solution for our in-house use, but at the same time, like we also give the similar applications as well to the community back, so that like there is there is always an addition, and open source gives you a flexibility in terms of like what exactly you want to do. I mean, you don't need to follow a standard framework for that. I mean, you can customize things as per your needs. I mean, we had, I mean, if I need to talk about every section, almost like 95% almost my applications runs on open source. And we ourselves, we have a full-time workforce who basically works either does the development or the QA or the security analysis on those things. And at the same time, once it rolls out to the production, there is a big set. I mean, there is a good technical resources who manage things and maintain it for the future purposes. Whether we focus a lot on performance, whether it is from the edge to the back end, and how do we do this? I mean, open source, along with open source, the advantage what we or maybe you call it a lethal combination is like with the open source solutions or software, we also use the hardware which is a commodity hardware. There is no lock-in. So I am completely free in case if I need to port it to any other system. So that's the advantage we get it from open source. But certainly, like there is some risk as well involved. You need to specifically choose your right resources. You need to keep them challenged. They are really difficult to find out. At the same time, you need to keep them always challenged so that they should be happy about like in terms of what work they are doing. I mean, these are few things like which we do to embrace open source.
I think, Surendra, I totally believe that even if you look at the major OEMs, right, from being very exclusive ecosystems, they've all gone to being very inclusive ecosystems, and I think that's a very strategic because that's directionally, right, social collaboration and business collaboration, right. I think that's where it's all at. If you look at a lot, especially around data and AI, a lot of the big things that have happened in the last half a decade, right? many of them, if you peel back the wrappers and the layers, many underneath it, you will see their origin mostly coming from open source projects, whether it is Apache, etc., etc. So a lot of them have come in from there, and I think that's uh, it's important that we not only become consumers of all of that that's happening, but like you said, I think it's a ethical duty to also contribute back to that entire community and let other people also take advantage of it, right? One of the
Yeah.
things that Sydney, I wanted to come back to you on is while all of this is there, right, and all of this is important to do, the actual backbone of any hyperconnectedness is genuinely the network that you build it on, right? How important in your opinion is a reliable, secure, performant network to be able to give the foundation for this great experience?
Yeah, I can confirm that we have the experience that leads us to believe that with technology we can outmaneuver uncertainty. Okay, we can actually use various forms of technology components to improve resilience, and we are leveraging that extensively. So I would like to say that with people going remote, and we cannot control every aspect of security at every employee level. So we are trying to see how we can distribute our security infra in such a way that I can monitor around 18 parameters at each workstation. That will give me confidence that I am able to make it very secure. And while I am getting the connection back to office, I'm ensuring we have our network resilience built to an extent where I don't have to bother about which connection, which link is taking them to the client side. I have to VPN them into Office, and from Office, I use a resilient network that takes me to client place. So that is keeping us safe and resilient all through this pandemic period. And we were able to successfully pass on this knowledge and experience to our clients. And they're all leveraging this network driven pandemic era where we are trying to see how we can extend the network from office to home. So I am actually working on a dashboard that we are trying to monitor each and every employee's connection to office. So I have VPN uh, tracking, and also I am seeing how many connections are dropping regularly or which hop. We are able to use various tools to drive all these data points and monitor every individual's performance at using network at various levels. So that shows that network from the hotspot device to broadband at home to a MPLS or a MAN connectivity in office, everything is playing their own role and making us all work efficiently all through this period.
Absolutely. I think surrogates for figuring out how do we make employees, how do we enable employees to be more productive wherever they are, because that's the reality that's not going to go away completely, right? It's not like we are all rushing back to office, not only in the near future, but in the foreseeable future, right? Some amount of hybrid working will, I think, will become a way of life. But Srini, to come back to you, one of the important things that you actually said is, human in the center, and the two very important parts of being hyper connected.
Back.
Okay, can you hear me? I'm not sure if you can. I seem to have lost
Yes,
connectivity.
I can hear you. Go ahead, Mr. Vijay. You're
So
audible.
Srini, I'll quickly get over. I seem to be in this hyper-connected world. We seem to be having technology dissonance. I just want to ask, how important do you think it is to be able to take both these elements, the employee and the customer, right? And how do you actually figure out how to bring all of them together into one integrated platform?
So I guess the question is like, how do you bring all of them together in a hyper-connected world? So a hyper-connected ecosystem really means connecting everyone together in the best possible way, so that activities become a lot more latency sensitive, which means that you're able to do it faster. Organizations are like what Jay rightly pointed out, are digital entities. Data is pouring from different points in the systems of every company. The more data that we collect, the more compelling is the need for us to provide differentiated experience to our customers, partners, and employees. This is a trend, and the challenge starts from the word get-go, and in the present COVID-19 scenario, it's become even more challenging. Large section of employees, partners, and customers are working out of their homes. There is no debate about this, and that's what we've been pushed to. And so employee experience is an important thing, like what Surinder rightly highlighted. They want the same level of support, and if they lose a network connection, they want to know, they want to get help, they want to be supported. And customers have similar requirements, and thereby, you need to engage them, you need to interact with them. Similar is a requirement for partners. They need fast, reliable, and safe ways, of connecting to their ecosystems. So building a hyper-connected ecosystem is definitely challenging. It's not easy. You still have last-mile problems like the way you're having, in joining this conference. So what Tata Communications did is we did a survey of 750 executives. And this was conducted by Longitude Research on behalf of Tata Communications. And only 46% of CEOs and COOs in the survey believe that their organizations are strong at offering a high-quality user experience across the value chain. I think this feedback is corroborated by the fact that digital transformation was happening in many organizations. They were looking at network, they're looking at cloud, they're looking at various other things to sort of transform their organizations, but wasn't able to accelerate it because of various reasons. It could have been skills, it could have been a lack of a clear plan, or the budget's not being allocated, or the buy-in not being there. But that's been the stumbling block for many of them during the pandemic, because they need to move faster. And the pandemic definitely, created a very, very, compelling and a significant need for accelerating digital transformation. And all of this is a big change for organizations. It's not easy for organizations to go through a transformation. And that's what we learned from the survey as well. So 38% of the respondents in the survey say that they are adjusting to fundamental, challenges, that are brought to the fore by any time, anywhere we are working. So employees are distributed, partners are distributed, customers are distributed. So how do you sort of make everything work? How do you collaborate? And from a technology perspective, I strongly believe, again, like what Surinder rightly pointed out, uncertainty can be actually managed by the right use of technology. I think today, the world is a lot more technologically agile and nimble, with several of the portfolios evolving. Like, for example, all of this wouldn't have been possible, and we wouldn't have been doing work the way we've been doing from home for the last 14, 15 months, but for the fiber proliferation in the country, but for the communication networks becoming a lot more reliable and intelligent, but for collaboration moving to the cloud, and people being able to make those voice calls, and look at the jump that he spoke about, going from 300 million to a billion plus minutes 4x, the growth, and the systems, stood up to the challenge, because what otherwise would have been a coffee conversation is now a call, and you're counting those minutes. So it's highly important for organizations to be digital, to be hyper-connected, and have the right tools and platforms, and have the right people to sort of manage the uncertainty. So that's really what hyper-connected ecosystem is all about, and bringing all the stakeholders together and keeping them connected, keeping them informed, providing them the right information, and managing the value chain across all of this ecosystem is really what hyper-connected ecosystems are all about.
I think brilliantly put together, Srini. We have, I think, enough time for quick bites from everybody. Jay, what next from for InfoEdge in terms of hyperconnectivity for the rest of the organization?
Well, certainly this is just the journey has started, I would say. I mean, people say like AI, ML kind of words. I mean, these are the jargons. Like, trust me, like this concept was existed earlier as well. The only challenges were maybe like at that particular time the compute was not enough or easily affordable, so that we could able to utilize those things. And slowly we are at the era like where we are improving on the performance. We are trying to put much more processing power within a smaller chip, and which is now we are taking or ripping the fruits out of it. And that's why, like for us as well, we are mostly available on most of the platform where customers can reach us, whether it is on desktop, laptop, mobile, tab, anything, any medium, smart TVs, anywhere like you could think about. Our mode of looking future is kind of like any platform which is coming on, we should be there. It should be we should be adding value to the customer rather than just focusing and taking the legacy along with us. So there is no more legacy. Keep be open, be learning every day, maintain the core, and move forward.
I think move forward is where it is at, always on demand, right? Surendra, again, both from a perspective of coming from an organization which speaks a lot about hyperconnectedness, right? Accenture does that a lot, and also from a perspective of saying we consume our own medicine. So you internally also you're looking at this, right? So therefore, what are the big plans for you in terms of what Accenture wants to do internally in terms of hyperconnectedness?
So I can say we have learned a lot through this period. For me personally and also professionally, has been a transformational experience. I have learned a lot through implementations which we thought would take 3 to 5 years. We had to do it in 3 to 5 months. So which has helped us realize the potential of what we can do and what my team can deliver. And now we are saying, okay, something need not be planned for 3 to 5 years. We can do quick testing, fail fast, and implement something new that can work for all. And a lot of mindsets which we had about how IT, how people should work, and where people should work, all those are broken now. So we are able to deliver services from wherever we are, and that is making us think differently. Now I was wondering, so I have more than 300,000 employees operating from various towns, cities across India, Philippines, China. So I have to think of how do I deliver services to their home. It's not just about connectivity. When they have hardware issues, like if their laptops break, what is the solution? So I have to arrange for an OEM to deliver services at this place wherever they are. So it is now becoming our next set of deliverables. I was able to call them whenever there was a hardware failure. I used to call them, okay, come to office and get your hardware replaced. Or I used to send new laptops to their place. But those are not sustainable solutions. So we had to find a solution to fix their issues quickly. So that is how we are able to deliver services. And that is what we are doing. So I think So we are now moving into that mode. Now we have moved into a direction from being preventive. We were doing preventive and predictive analysis, and then we were able to provide support. Now we are getting into proactive mode of support. So now everybody has laptop at home. They have a lot of tools running on their laptops. I am trying to get data from their laptops to see whether they have enough battery time left in their machine, or do they have enough hard disk space? Do they have processor utilization in control, or do they have enough memory for their regular usage? So I'm monitoring all those things proactively and deliver a battery to their home when their battery becomes weak. I have 2 to 3 months of information of, okay, this laptop needs a battery replacement within 2 months. So I order a battery and send it to their place without they even asking for it. And also for a laptop, if I come to know their processor is being used up and they're not able to get the same performance on all the applications, I'm arranging for a replacement laptop because I know this fellow is a developer and he needs a high performing machine. So we are getting into that proactive mode of support, and that is opening up a new set of challenges for us, because how do we predict all these parts and all? We are now trying to do different set of analysis from what we were doing when we were in office. So that is taking us ahead and trying to keep us engaged with our employees and to see what they expect and how are we meeting some of those without even they asking for it. That's the challenge we are working upon.
I think that's also part of the challenge that all of us are working on, right? So it is how do we communicate better, easier? How do we collaborate? So what platforms can we use to collaborate, communicate, make everything more efficient? I think I've just got a time check. Srini, we have enough time for you to give us a quick roundup, and then maybe I can do a playback, right?
So, I think overall what I hear, and overall what you've spoken, Mr. Vijay, I think Surinder made some telling comments, I think same from Jay, in terms of saying what is hyperconnectedness and what is this information deluge all about, right? 10 years ago, we wouldn't have spoken about predicting individual's laptop battery going to, die in 3 months or 6 months. We would have said, forget it, not important. We have bigger fires to fight, so we'll look at it. And similarly, if we had data, we will say, get rid of this, archive it, because I don't see value for it. Because as Jay rightly pointed out, computing, was expensive, right? Storage was expensive. The cost of doing business was much higher using the technologies, that we have. It's not that neural networks didn't exist, 30 years ago. I think, those were elective, subjects even when we, did our colleges, so it's like, it is like these things are now coming together beautifully to create a hyper-connected ecosystem. We're now talking about digital cities. We're talking about digital citizen services. We're talking about a hyper-connected service to a citizen in every country. So from an enterprise, from the way we look at connectedness, from the way we look at collaboration, from the way we look at intelligence that can be used to improve employee experience, customer experience, and the ability to deliver that in a timely fashion, to any customer, be it in any business model, be it B2B, be it B2C, makes a significant difference. And we all want to hyper customize our services to our customers and deliver us at different point in time to our customers. And that's the endeavor of every single enterprise. And for companies, like us, it's an endeavor for ourselves and to facilitate, our customers and partners to sort of deliver us, to their customers. That's how, I would sum it up. And it's been a very, very interesting, conversation with evidences, with anecdotes, which clearly prove that, we are in a data deluge era, we are in a hyper-connected era, and being sensitive to the smaller parameters that we would otherwise ignored in the past is becoming the norm now.
Srini, I think what you said absolutely resonates, right? I mean, none of this is new. Alan Turing spoke about machine intelligence in the paper in the 50s and 60s, right? What has changed is the commercial viability of doing this at scale and the ease and the availability of resources, right? Again, as coming from an umbrella organization which has a finger in multiple businesses, right, which impact how we as not just as individuals, but as a society will leverage technology for a better life. So, for profit, people, and for the planet impact. And I know that's a part of the ethos of the entire group that you come from, right? So we are really looking forward to seeing what next happens from you. Uh, we in KPMG have this framework for digital success, which we say hinges on three aspects, right? Connected, powered, and trusted. So the first, obviously, the interconnectedness of every bit of our businesses. Uh, you know, powered is how technologically we can amplify capabilities to create an experiment. And finally, of course, underlying everything, we need to be able to protect our assets, our data, and our consumers. There's this brilliant joke that I quote very often. The dean of one of the IITs in data science, he had said to me the first time over a drink, he said, what is the factory of the future? He said, the factory of the future is one person and one dog in the factory. The only job of the person is to feed the dog. And the only job of the dog is to ensure that the person doesn't touch anything in the factory, right? But jokes apart, every time we talk about technology, we talk about hardware and software. Uh, I think it is as important that we talk about wetware. I mean, as human beings, 60%, water. Therefore, what the other two bring in is recency and convenience, right? So, but for the first principles of relevance and context for every new business iteration or solution, I think the human is still the fulcrum around which all of this will work. And then and keeping the human in the middle and designing for how machines interact with us is many a times the difference between the success and the failure of a hyper-connected journey, right? Sorry. So to sort of stay true to our belief in remaining hyper-connected, we are going to cajole Jay into getting us a brilliant deal on a beachside villa from 99 acres, right? Srini, we are going to, you will have to take care of our next vehicle upgrade from the larger group firm. And because me and Surendra come from a consulting background, we'll ensure that all of us will figure out how all of us need to meet, discuss, have a couple of drinks, right? This it has been a real pleasure spending this hour with you. Be safe, and hopefully we'll see each other physically, not just digitally, very, very soon. Dimple, back to you.
Yeah, thanks for this opportunity. I am sure we were able to share openly whatever we could. And like I said, we have to be very adaptive. When you spoke about cricket, I was thinking it was difficult for me to get a set of people to come to a ground and play in this pandemic period. So I had to look for alternate options. So I started playing tennis. I just need one more person to play with me. So social distancing and everything can be maintained, and you don't have any other risks of arranging people. So all those things are applicable everywhere. So we have to keep looking at alternate solutions and alternate passion as we get into this continuous BCP or recovery in everything.
Absolutely, Surendra. With that ode to the father of innovation, which was India, with that ode to the Indian Jugaad, Dimple, over to you.
Thank you, Biswa. Thank you, everyone, for that terrific session. We appreciate you all being here. Thanks again for joining us today and sharing your knowledge and your expertise with us. I'm sure it provided some extremely valuable insights to our attendees today. And this brings us to the close of this session, which has been both engaging and informative. Before I sign off, I'd want to thank everyone who joined today's ET Live panel session. Powered by Tata Communications. Please fill the feedback form, which will pop up once you log off from the session. Your feedback is extremely important to us. Please join us for more such webinars. This is Dimple Bajwa signing off. Have a good day, everyone.